Hello and welcome to the program. I am Adeshewa Josh. Electricity has been in short supply in Nigeria for as long as most people can remember. And in most rural areas, it's the norm to experience total blackout, except of course when there is a little extra money for fuel to power their generators. This is not only hampering development in these areas, it is equally stifling their creativity and crippling small businesses. Well, I asked the CEO of the Bank of Industry in an interview shortly after he took office if there are plans in place to close the power deficit gap. Here's what he had to say.
We are looking at the possibility of supporting off-grid solar energy solutions, for the rural communities that don't have electricity. The magic in the ICT sector was the pay-as-you-go billing system. And we've been able to find people who have the technology that can be equally leveraged, for the solar energy. And we're having discussions. We are on a 50-50 sharing basis, cost sharing basis with United Nations Development Program in Nigeria. And we have the access to renewable energy, which is, we call it ATRI. You can get more information on our website. What we're trying to do is to ensure that we can deploy, working with Nigerian companies, we can deploy this technology across the rural communities.
Putting words into action, the Bank of Industry is currently in partnership with two local off-grid solar home systems providers, GVE Projects Limited and Anaji Solar Limited, to power at least 200 homes in rural areas across Anambra, Delta, Gombe, Kaduna, Niger, and Osun states. 200 homes each in those states. And at an official announcement in Lagos, cheques were presented to these young entrepreneurs under the BOI UNDP Solar Energy Program. And this is said to be just the beginning. I'll bring you all the details after the break.
The agricultural sector due to limited processing and preservation capacity. This results in high food prices and food importation with its attendant effects on the nation's foreign reserves. To enable Nigerians optimize the benefits from the country's vast agricultural products such as cassava, oil palm, rice, tomatoes and others, the Bank of Industry has launched a 5 billion naira cottage agro-processing fund, the CAP Fund. Customers can access the fund to establish plans to process our various agro-produce into food products or intermediate raw materials for industries at a single-digit interest rate of 9% per annum. For more information on the CAP Fund, please visit www.boinigeria.com/capfund. Bank of Industry, developing Nigeria's agro-processing industry through the CAP Fund.
According to the most recent statistics from the World Bank, 53% of the Nigerian population live in rural communities, and about 85% of that population are said to be without electricity. That means about 65 million Nigerians cannot power a bulb at will, but may have to use lanterns, candles, and peradventure power a generator in the nearest future from months of tedious savings. One can only imagine how rapid and/or sustainable development can be for a country touted to be the largest economy in Africa. As a development institution, the Bank of Industry is taking the initiative to contribute its quota to closing the power deficit gap in Nigeria by funding an off-grid solar home system project that will power at least 200 homes in rural communities across 6 states. This solution, interestingly, will be operated on a pay-as-you-go basis, meaning rural dwellers only get to pay for the power they consume. At the check presentation ceremony in Lagos, stakeholders, members of the press, the beneficiaries, among others, gathered to witness the day. The CEO of the Bank of Industry, Mr. Rasheed Olaoluwa, told the audience while alternative renewable energy for rural communities is a priority.
Inadequate power supply undermine our economic development as a nation. economic life remains paralyzed in many rural communities that have been left outside the grid for several years. This is one of the main factors responsible for the often talked about rural-urban migration. Rather than wait in vain for the national grid to reach them, there is a golden opportunity for our rural communities to be empowered with affordable off-grid solar home systems that are operated on a pay-as-you-go basis.
The project kicks off with the provision of long-term financing for the installation of off-grid solar home systems in 6 communities in a pilot phase, with an average of 200 homes each in Anambra, Delta, Gombe, Kaduna, Niger, and Osun states.
Now, each home in the chosen communities will have sufficient energy to power 3 or 4 LED lights. By the way, LED lights mean light emitting diode lights that consume between 5 to 10 watts. So each home will be able to use 3 to 4 LED lights, 1 electric fan, a radio set, a TV set, and of course, mobile phone charging. These are the basic needs of the average rural family. What we are initiating is a commercially sound model for delivering power to Nigerian rural homes at affordable rates to provide a long-term alternative to the problematic national grid. We want our rural communities to take control of their energy generation and to pay for the energy they use. Our medium-term vision is to have 100,000 homes installed with solar systems in the next 5 years through a combination of microgrid and standalone solar home systems.
Thank you very much. Yeah, the chairman, Professor.
At the end of the day, checks were presented to both GVE Projects Limited and Anaji Solar Limited.
Yeah, the chairman, Professor.
So how affordable will these solar systems really be in these communities?
There's a down payment of just 3,000 naira. And then after that, you just pay only to the extent of maybe about 50 naira a day. So this is significantly, cheaper than buying kerosene and, generators and all that.
Mr. Olaoluwa also notes the benefit for micro-business owners.
We have a version that you can also use for the micro enterprises. So it's not just for homes. A micro enterprise, maybe a barbing salon, people who are in micro businesses that are not energy intensive. I must emphasize that. So it's not like you cannot plug an electric iron, So, those things that really sap a lot of energy out of the system. But if there are things that use, 100 watts, 200 watts up to that level, this can be accommodated. And in fact, in communities where this has been done, it has transformed the economic life. Villages where by 7 p.m. everybody goes to bed. Now you now find that people are busy, opening shops and really conducting commercial activities up to 9, 10 p.m. And it has really transformed their lives.
Taking the CEO's words for it, we went on a trip to Sagbokoji Island. A rural community located across the Lagos Lagoon, said to be without electricity for about 100 years. Here, Friday Gregory's solar-powered DVD not only entertained him and his family, His kids can now study using adapted modern educational tools.
A noun is the name of a person, animal, place, or thing. What part of speech does not?
We'll be right back.